Well, thank you very much, Ken Workington. Welcome, everyone, to a Saturday night at the new Meadowlands Racetrack. And we are indeed joined by Joe McLead, a visionary who's had a dream and he's bringing it to fruition, reopening Sugar Valley Farms in his native Delaware, Ohio as a stallion station. Despite this economy, when you first told me you were doing this last fall, I thought you were crazy. But with slots on the horizon, looks like a great move.
You know, it's been a lot of fun trying to figure it out. My uncle and I are very fortunate, my uncle being Billy Walters, a co-owner, are very fortunate to have the farm provided by our grandparents, or Billy's parents, my grandparents. And so we were already established. I had to fine-tune a few different things. And my relationship with the people that I met from my former job at Winback Farm, we were able to bring it to fruition. It's a lot of fun.
And your former job at Winback Farm for Joe and Joanne Thompson was general manager. And Winback, a lot of farms might be BMW dealers or Mercedes dealer. They're kind of like Automax. They got something for everybody and practically every program, don't they?
Well, Joe Thompson's an individual, and that's the reason the farm is the way it is. He provides something to everybody. You can win the Hambletonian, and you can win a sire stakes in 7 different states. He provides something for every horseman around. He and his wife have done a phenomenal job with what they've created. And the staff there, being the general manager was a very easy job at Winback Farm. If you surround yourself with the right people and they are able to do their jobs, it makes your life a whole lot easier. And that's made me the person that I am today in this business.
And Joe, you started out, like you say, with Billy Walters, your cousin, in Delaware, Ohio, racing horses. You used to actually train and drive horses, didn't you?
That's why I'm sitting here with you talking about a farm, Sam.
Me too, yeah.
Yes, Billy, Billy did a really good job training in Ohio. Is a very well-respected horseman. Won some races out here, trained some world champions, and I followed along for a while and realized that, sitting there with the catalog at the sales and looking at confirmation and pedigree was a lot more my style than the everyday grind at the track.
And the big news, of course, in Ohio, slots are on the horizon. I understand Scioto Downs has already built their infrastructure. They're ready to go. When do you think slots will actually be legalized to start raking in the dough in the Ohio racetracks?
I'd say we're rounding third heading for home.
Getting pretty close.
We're right there. We got our sliding pants on. We're getting ready to come into the home plate.
And you have 4 stallions. Let's take a look at their commercials for each one individually and talk about them a little bit. Let's start with I'm Gorgeous. And the cool thing about I'm Gorgeous for Ohio, he actually won a heat of the Little Brown Jug and was second, I believe, in the final. And this is a horse you got from George T.
Yeah, my relationship with George developed at Winback Farm. And when my uncle and I decided to come around and go ahead with this farm, we wanted to really fit in the stallions to where we have each individual being from one of the popular sires on the Grand Circuit area. And I'm Gorgeous is just a perfect fit in the state. 2-year-old record here, 50-4, winning the heat of elimination of the Woodrow, and then coming in and winning the heat of the Jug. Also, the Cane's a phenomenal mile that he put in the elimination of the Cane. And Ohio's full of half-mile tracks. So he fit in well. He opens up good with a Better's Delight out of an Andrell mare. So you're going to Nero and everything else. So anybody can breed to him.
And how's he been received so far?
He's one of the most popular ones that I have in the stud barn right now, and everybody really likes him, and he's aptly named.
Yes, he is.
He's a beautiful individual.
Good-looking horse, and the Better's Delight horses, I just think he's a tremendous sire. Should fit well in the Ohio program.
And with I'm Gorgeous, we've got 2 really good mares that have been booked to him. Off the top of my head, Billy and I stepped up and bought a sister to Better Than Cheddar and a full sister to Artist View, who won the Breeders' Crown as well. And then
was racing tonight, as a matter of fact.
Yes, and then Aquatic Yankee, that was a good race mare.
Made the Bowder family, yeah. She was a tough mare. How about Mr. Wiggles? He's second richest son, I believe, of Badlands Hanover.
He's an incredible individual in his own right. And Badlands Hanover, I got a relationship with John Shelley that owns Badlands Hanover himself. He's one of the best Badlands there was, and he has a great record on 5/8, half, and on the mile, and that was what we wanted to do, is fit in these individuals from top sires that are able to get over the size racetracks that we have in Ohio.
And George Teague, of course, raced Mr. Wiggles as well, and George has been a big supporter of yours.
Oh, George Teague and Elmer Fannin and his son Brent, they're just phenomenal people to deal with. Very easy, let us kind of handle the thing. They provide us with what we have, and we take it from there. They're excellent to work with.
And on the trotting side, you have a horse I've always liked, Pilgrim's Taji. Was a terror as a 2-year-old, won the Breeders' Crown, also won a Hambletonian Elim, and son of Broadway Hall with a lot of talent.
and he's a good-looking individual, just like them all. And being the son of Broadway Hall, another popular young stallion, Broadbond that won the Hambo is the only one that's better than him, time and, or I should say, money-wise. But he was an incredible 2-year-old. 7 out of 10 starts, wins. The other 3 were seconds. I'm surprised that he actually wasn't 2-year-old of the year that year.
And Jailhouse Jesse, who was Ohio's leading stallion, of course, has gone to Indiana. So Pilgrim's Ties, the door is open right now. How's he been received?
He's been very well received on the trotting side in Ohio. And we're not only here to talk about Sugar Valley Farms, but the opportunities that are coming around in the state of Ohio. And there's some really good trotters that came in. And you got to take your hats off to everybody that's making an effort in the state and providing the state with something new and fresh. And it's a really bright future that we have to look forward to.
And speaking of new and fresh, you have one of the best bargains in the state of Ohio, and that is Woodstock, a rock and roll Hanover, highly regarded early by Top Connections. And what's he stand for? $2,000? That's a pretty good price for a horse with this pedigree.
That's a really good price with a horse with his pedigree. And the reason he's standing at Sugar Valley Farms in Ohio is because he's only got $178,000 on his card. $100,000 yearling. He was purchased by Myron Bell and the Brittany Farms Connections and Adam Victor and so on and so forth in that group. And he was really impressive as a 2-year-old. Tim Tetrick drove him and chose him in Metro Lim, drove him here in his first couple of races, and then also as a 3-year-old, he proved that he can get around a half-mile track. He was second time Gorgeous in the cane elimination and 50 in a piece. So that's another reason why he's in Ohio, is he can get around a half-mile track.
And Joe, you've got, for our viewers in the Midwest and in Ohio especially, you've got an open house coming up. I think that's next weekend. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're going to have a open house from 2 to 4 on next Saturday, March 31st. We'll have a stallion parade at 2:30 and 3:30. Show them off, explain a little bit about them. We'll have TV set up throughout the farm and the barn, and just show what we've done. We've put in a little over 2 miles worth of new fence, redid one of the existing barns to create into the stallion barn, and we're going to have food, beverages. Food's going to be provided by Jeff Short at Shorty's Casual Cuisine, I think is what he calls it in town, and he's actually the second trainer for Chuck Sylvester back in his early heydays.
I remember that. He used to train horses. He was out here for a while. Always complained how expensive the hamburgers were at McDonald's. Now he's selling them back in the,
exactly.
in the Buckeye State.
And Jeff sure knows his Italian.
That's for sure. Joe, what's your thoughts on the situations in Ontario and Pennsylvania, programs that benefited greatly from the slots? Now the various governments are looking to pull back some of that revenue.
Well, you're kind of putting me on the spot in asking that question, Sam, but my personal opinion is the slots that we have in those jurisdictions, and then the situation that's happened here in New Jersey. I think it's actually a better situation in New Jersey now with Mr. Gural stepping in and doing what he's done. But the slots action, we're in tough times in the United States, and they're going to be looking for money in different areas, and I think a lot of the politicians have spy glasses on. They look at the bottom line, but they don't look outside the area to where we're creating agriculture, green space, providing jobs to people that they don't even think about. And there's going to be these rough times, but I think as a whole, we got to follow along with what Mr. Gural's doing and trying to create something new, something more exciting, and follow along with that, because we have that opportunity to seize the slots money, but we also have the opportunity to create something new that attract all these people that are sitting here behind us on a daily basis.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that if you look at an industry that supports 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 jobs, if a company was coming to a state and said, listen, I'm going to bring 15,000 jobs here, the states would bend over backwards to welcome them on board, yet they kind of turn their back on the horse industry, which is unfortunate.
Well, the way I kind of assess that is you sit here and think about it. You have a company that comes in and says, I'm going to put a car manufacturing company, I'm going to put Ford here or Honda. And all the local municipalities and the states sit there and bend over backwards and give them tax abatements and things of that nature, and it's creating 12,000, 15,000 jobs. Well, they're thinking we're going to get the money from income tax, blah, 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 on down the road. But we're already providing that. So what we need to do is not only step up our game and letting them know we're here and we're here to stay and we've persevered, but we're also creating something bigger and better, and it's really going to be an exciting time here in the next 10, 15 years in the harness racing business as we work together.
Joe, I think we should run you for president if you're not doing anything next November. One last question for you. From a breeder's perspective in the Midwest, how important is the survival and the revival of the flagship track for our sport, the Meadowlands, right here in New Jersey?
Oh, the Meadowlands in New Jersey is not the Meadowlands in New Jersey. The Meadowlands is harness racing. Everybody else has their own individual spotlight in the sun, but on a daily basis, the Meadowlands is and what it is right here. It's one of the most beautiful tracks in the country. You're right across the road or the river from Manhattan. Everything that you can have is right here. And with Mr. Garral's vision and also the help of, well, he's not really tied to the Meadowlands, I don't believe, but you have guys like Jason Settlemore, that's an Ohio guy, that's helping create what Jeff did in New York and things of that nature. The Meadowlands, if the Meadowlands ever goes, you're not going to see much popularity in the standardbred business anymore. Even the thoroughbreds. I mean, the Meadowlands is synonymous with horse racing.
Okay, well, Joe McLead, thanks so much for joining us. If you want to find out more, log on to SugarValleyFarmStallions.com in Delaware, Ohio. A guy who's jumping in with both feet. His slots are on the horizon, and I think it's your cousin's birthday, too, isn't it?
Actually, it's my Uncle Billy's birthday today,
all right.
And his wife's birthday was the other day, and I want to say hello to my wife and son, Will and Patty. But first and foremost, everyone here at the Meadowlands and everybody watching, it is Sam McKee's birthday today. So we have to wish Sam a happy birthday. Shows how good of a sport he is to come to work on this day.
Well, don't bring donuts, just bring checks. That'll work okay.
And
Joe,
we're not going to light any candles because it'll set
fire
this place
extinguishers,
on fire.
yeah. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. Safe travels back to Ohio. Good luck with everything, and we appreciate your support here at the Big M. Joe McLead, everyone. Wendy Ross coming up next after this short timeout.